For the first time in a long time, I went out to town and decided to let loose. The following day, I went to pay my credit card off and noticed that I had spent just shy of $250 on alcohol alone. I think that's a lot. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and today I am talking about how much damage alcohol can do in general. And I'm not referring to damage to your body, I'm talking about damage to your finances. Alcohol consumption is a common aspect in Australian culture, and it plays a role in most people's social lives. I had my first drink when I was 14 years old, and when my parents found out, the look on their face was extremely upset, but somewhat proud. It says a lot about how Australians treat drinking alcohol when the legal drinking age is 18, yet I would say with confidence that almost every single human being I know who was raised in this country would have consumed alcohol in some capacity well before they hit the legal drinking age. From the moment I turned 18, alcohol became much more accessible. I was able to go out and buy a drink over the counter at a pub or a nightclub, and I didn't have to worry about finding someone to buy me alcohol if I wanted to go and get it from the local liquor store. I noticed that my weekend outings shifted in nature as well. Weekend activities started to involve alcohol more and more, where instead of spending time with my friends at the beach, we opted for other alternatives such as going to the pub or a local winery more often. And nighttime activities followed this same trajectory, where instead of hanging out at each other's houses, we opted to go to the city instead. And it was somewhere between my 19th and 21st birthday where I realized that drinking was not something that I wanted to default to whenever the opportunity presented itself. I noticed a lot of my friends at the time start to get caught in a bit of a cycle where they were making drinking a priority. Alcohol started to weave itself into daily activities that it absolutely should not have been a part of. I remember picking up one of my friends on a Thursday afternoon. They had just gone and seen a movie and called me asking if I wanted to hang out. It was like 4 p.m. and I noticed that they were slurring their words when they got into my car. I asked out of concern if everything was okay, and they reassured me that everything was fine. And by the time we had gotten back to their place, I had put it together, and it seemed as if they were almost ashamed of being drunk at 4 p.m. on a Thursday. Seeing this type of behavior most likely played a key role in what drove me away from drinking or consuming alcohol regularly. I am almost 28 years old at the time of recording this video, and like I said at the beginning of this video, it has been a long time since I let myself get white girl wasted. I am very aware of how expensive alcohol is. However, after my most recent event, I really wanted to do some projections to put it into perspective as to how expensive it really is to consume alcohol on a consistent basis. There are two scenarios that I want to look at from a cost perspective. The first being starting at when I was 18 years old. From the perspective of if I had stayed on that same path of some of my friends who had kept those unhealthy drinking habits from when they were 18, when I was 18, all the way through to my current age. My friends' drinking habits at the age of 18 look something like this. A couple of casual drinks on weeknights. For the sake of this scenario, let's say 4 standard drinks between Monday and Thursday. Friday would be somewhere between 5 and 10 standards. Saturday would be at least 10 standards, and Sunday generally would be recovery. So on average, I am going to be conservative and say that they were consuming roughly 20 standard drinks across a 7-day week. To keep it simple, I'm going to say that each standard drink cost approximately $7, which I think is very conservative, considering if you were to go out and buy something like a cocktail, you could expect to pay anywhere up to $25 for a single drink if you were to go get it from a restaurant, a bar, or a pub. So at the time of recording this video right now, it has been 500 weeks since my 18th birthday. What are the odds of that? And if we extrapolate these expenses out, I would have spent on average $140 per week on alcohol, which adds up to $70,000 over the past 10 years of my life, which is definitely higher than I expected it to be. That is a house deposit. Okay, the second scenario is from the perspective of a more casual drinker who might enjoy a glass of wine or a beer with their dinner, 1, 2, or 3 nights a week, and then they might have a couple of standards on a weekend, and every now and then, let's say once a month, they let loose. So let's say 3 standard drinks per week and 2 standard drinks on a weekend, and then once per month they go hard and have 7 standards over that one weekend. For simplicity, I'm going to keep the price of a standard drink at $7, which means that the numbers we're going to be playing with to do the calculation is that 3 out of 4 weeks of the month, they are drinking 5 standard drinks, and that extra week where they let loose, they're drinking 10 standard drinks. If my math is correct, that means since my 18th birthday, I would have spent roughly $22,000 on alcohol alone. And if I extrapolated this out to my 60th birthday, that number would come out to roughly be $100,000, which, to be completely honest, isn't all that crazy over a 42-year period. However, it still is not an insignificant number. That's still roughly $2,400 a year spent on alcohol alone. I think this is as simple as it needs to be for a breakdown for me, as it's very, very difficult to accurately predict these numbers because there are so many parameters and things that you could plug into the equation to spit out an accurate number. I think just in general terms, this was a pretty interesting exercise just to get a rough figure based on those rough numbers. If anything, it's clear that even having a few casual drinks throughout the week could definitely still put a dent in someone's budget. If you are someone who is aware of your spending on alcohol and are willing to share that, please drop me a comment down below. I'd be very interested to see what that looks like coming from the perspective of someone else. Even better, if you know specifically how much you're spending on average per week, I would really like to know what that number looks like from the perspective of someone else as well. I think that that information would really highlight or back up what I've just projected here. If it would be more or less, I'd be really interested to see that outcome. So again, please feel free to drop a comment down below if you've made it this far into the video and are willing to share. I guess the key takeaway from today's video is to make sure you understand what your alcohol spending looks like. And if you are someone who is concerned, maybe start taking some steps to reduce or minimize the hole that it may be creating within your wallet. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was insightful. I hope you enjoyed it in general. If you did, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel and turn bell notifications on so you don't miss any of the videos I release, and I will leave you there. Have a good day. Yep, have a good week. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.